Chapter 21 Time Trap, Su Chen's Waiting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 21, Time Trap, Su Chen Waits and Waits. Jinling University is the best university in Jinling City, upstream 985, and those who can pass the exam are the best in each province. It was nearly 9:50, and darkness had completely enveloped the place. Su Chen and the others parked their car on the side of the road, rolled down the window and looked over. There were more than a dozen tall buildings standing at intervals in the huge campus, white light seeped out from each window. It was so late, but there were still many people still studying. Our on-duty security post has been established for decades since that case, right? Su Chen asked towards the back seat of the car. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Long and Wang Ping looked at each other behind them. A look of fear appeared on his face. It seems that anyone who is a native of Jinling still has lingering fear when talking about this major case that happened decades ago, which shows how much impact the top 10 unsolved cases in the Dragon Country have had on people. It's become an old tradition. Zhao Long leaned forward and whispered to Su Chen. I can only say that even though few people seem to be talking about it now, the shadow left by the Jinling University corpse case will never go away. The same is true for the police. The Jinling Public Security Bureau has had a hard time these years. That's right. Wang Ping also became interested when he mentioned this unsolved case. He came over and answered. Brother Su Chen, you should also know that the predecessor of our variety show is actually the tradition of the Dragon Kingdom since ancient times. It is now called the Public Security Criminal Investigation Skills Competition. In ancient times, I can't remember clearly. It seems to be called the Divine Case Examination, and the Civil and Military Examination. The Imperial Examinations are collectively known as the two major selection systems. Actually, this competition has always been a personnel competition within the public security system. Do you know why the officials put it on the stage in the past 2 years and made it into a variety show? Su Chen was stunned for a moment, then shook his head. He didn't even know the internal investigation and historical origins of this police department. Why? Wang Ping's face suddenly became serious. Because of the prosecution period. The prosecution period? You mean the prosecution period for pending cases? Su Chen suddenly understood. Long law stipulates that if the statutory maximum penalty is life imprisonment or death, the prosecution period is 20 years. The current corpse dismemberment case at Jinling University happened exactly 20 years ago. In other words, the prosecution period of this case will soon expire, and the police will seal the case. If the murderer were still alive, then he would never be tried and would remain at large, Wang Ping continued. It is because the prosecution period of this case is approaching and negative sentiments are gradually growing in society. Therefore, the police are hosting such a variety show to demonstrate the power of modern criminal investigation and give the public reassurance. After hearing this, Su Chen sighed, shook his head slightly and said. But just showing off muscles may not be effective. Can more training victories offset the sorrow and shame of that unsolved case? As soon as these words came out, the car fell into silence for an instant. Zhang Long and Wang Ping opened their mouths, but they didn't know how to answer. Although the colleague in front of them was young, what he said was quite reasonable. Even delayed justice cannot be considered justice. What about absentee justice? During the silence between the two of them, Su Chen continued to say calmly. If it were me, I would probably face this unsolved case generously and continue to spare no effort to solve it. After all, the prosecution period is not over yet. I want the murderers to know that the police will not let them go, not until the last second. Even if there is only a glimmer of hope, he must be arrested and brought to justice. This is how you truly regain your dignity. Good. Wang Ping and Zhao Long suddenly shouted, then patted Su Chen on the shoulder and gave a thumbs up. You are like this. As long as there are people like you in our police department, society will be protected. Su Chen smiled slightly, nodded, shook his head, and turned around. Little did he know that this time he would reenact an unsolved case and put the Jinling University corpse case in front of the expert team. How would they feel? There are many unsolved cases in this parallel world, as well as many detective organizations, both official and unofficial. including many highly prestigious detectives and police experts. Solving a cold case is a matter of supreme honor, equivalent to the Nobel Prize. In the criminal investigation world, perhaps the existence of these organizations just shows that most people in the world hope that the unsolved cases will be solved. 10 minutes passed quietly during the conversation between several people in the car. Dang dang, the bell rang for the last evening class, and the crisp metallic sound echoed throughout the Jinling University campus. Students came out of the campus one after another, some went back to their dormitories, and some rented houses outside. Su Chen and the others were alert and their eyes almost became searchlights, monitoring the students to prevent any unexpected danger. Soon, the students were all dispersed, while the two colleagues were staring out the window. Su Chen turned on his phone and brought up the chat box for a conversation with the director's daughter. When he hacked the director's phone before, he transferred the operating terminal to the phone, so now he can easily talk to Gui Yutong directly using the director's account. Su Chen typed, "Don't be too anxious. The policeman works overtime at night and may have to pick you up 10 minutes late. You should stay at school for a while and don't run around for fear of danger. When you get to the car, remember to tell me that you are safe." Soon, there was a reply. Gui Yutong, "Okay Dad, don't worry, it's no better than before. It's safe. I won't be in any danger." TSK, the danger came because you were so negligent." Su Chen cursed secretly and put his phone in his pocket. Now, he has laid all the traps for this little girl, and the other party also fell into the trap. Now, it's just a matter of waiting and enjoying the results. While Su Chen was thinking, Wang Ping and Zhao Long have also completed their monitoring tasks. To put it bluntly, this position is for handling emergencies. If nothing happens, it will be an idle position. "Let's go, Su Chen, let's go have a late-night snack and have a barbecue," Zhao Long said. 10:10 p.m. Xiaopeng Barbecue, front desk. "Boss, here are 20 skewers of mutton and 5 steamed buns, 10 skewers of big kidneys. My friend has a bad waist and needs to be replenished." Zhao Long took the menu and reached out to pat Wang Ping on the shoulder. "Fuck you, my waist is fine, your friend is yourself." Wang Ping pushed the other party's hand away with a look of disgust, grabbed the menu, and handed it to Su Chen. "Let my little brother choose, Su Chen, just order whatever you want to eat." Su Chen looked around and said with a smile. "Okay, let's do this for now. We'll order more later when we don't have enough." "Good." Zhao Long nodded. Su Chen reached out and handed the big menu over the counter to the boss. The owner of the barbecue restaurant was a typical northeastern man. He responded and started ordering Su Chen and his friends' orders. However, when everyone's attention is on the menu, Zhao Long, Wang Ping and the owner of the barbecue restaurant didn't notice. At this time, Su Chen had already used his ghost hand skills. The moment he handed over the menu, he moved the hands of a large clock on the front desk back 10 minutes. After doing this, an imperceptible smile appeared on Su Chen's lips. In this case, if you want to deceive the expert team, you must fully prove that you were not present when the kidnapping occurred. That's why he chose to stay with his two colleagues tonight, and this is not enough. He also wants to set a time trap and make everyone make wrong judgments. In this way, the two colleagues around me are supporting evidence. Chapter 22, Kidnapping and Hiding Corpses in One Go. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 22, A Team That Kidnaps and Hides Corpses. "Boss, bake it faster, we are quite hungry," Su Chen said casually, while silently retracting his hand. Upon hearing this, the owner of the barbecue restaurant immediately smiled and reached out to point at the clock that Su Chen had just adjusted. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Don't worry, little brother, my store is famous for being fast. Look, it's 10:20 now. I promise, the mutton will be served within 10 minutes. If you haven't eaten at 10:30, I'll treat you to this meal. That it was as expected by Su Chen. Next to Su Chen, police officers Zhao Long and Wang Ping followed the barbecue restaurant owner's hand and fixed their eyes on the watch at the front desk. Now, didn't he just have 3 more witnesses? This is a sophisticated time trap. Su Chen specifically searched the map software for the walking time from the south gate of Jinling University to this barbecue restaurant. if nothing else, the little girl should be here around 10:20, at that time, the boss and colleagues could all testify to Su Chen that they were ordering together. After thinking about it, Su Chen and the other two nodded to their boss and said with a smile. "No, please hurry up." "Okay," that the boss replied. After leaving the counter, Su Chen and the other two casually found a table against the wall and sat on it. Not long after, the barbecue was served quickly. The three of them had a great time chatting while eating, while Su Chen kept secretly paying attention to the messages on his phone. "I can't understand the barrage. What's going on with Su Chen? He's playing games and eating at the same time. Isn't he a little distracted? This makes me a little anxious. Su Chen, wake up. Officer Duan's monitoring system will be repaired in a few hours. You will definitely be exposed by then. Su Chen, you can't start swinging just because you've had the upper hand a few times. Just run, or think of another way. What is the situation now? Can anyone tell me what his next plan is? Any idea?" The brothers are also confused, and just when the audience was complaining, Su Chen and the others had barely eaten a few bites. Su Chen's cell phone rang. Inside, there was a new message from Guiyutong. "Dad, I'm next to the car. There's no one in the car. The parked location is quite remote." "Of course it is remote, just to let you go to a place where no one is around." Su Chen cursed secretly. Then, he stood up and said to Zhang Long and Wang Ping, who were playing skewers. "You guys eat first, I'm going to use the toilet." Zhang Long held the steamed bun slices with mutton in his hand, puffed out his cheeks and nodded. "There is no toilet in this shop. Just turn right when you go out. Go back quickly. The next batch of baked goods will be ready soon." Su Chen waved his hand. "It's just a matter of a minute or two." Afterwards, he left the Xiaopeng barbecue restaurant and turned right from the door, but he did not go towards the public toilet. Instead, he plunged into a remote alley on the other side. At the same time, the scene in the live broadcast room suddenly changed, came to Su Chen's car. As the sky eye lens moved, a pretty girl with short hair appeared on the screen, with delicate three-dimensional facial features and fair skin. In an instant, it captured the attention of all the audience. "Why is the screen cut? I don't want to look at anyone except Su Chen. Hey, this girl is so beautiful. Damn it, the program team understands me, just don't move in the live broadcast room. The director is adding chicken legs. What does this mean? Why did you give this girl a shot for no reason? Does the program team have a hidden mission? I don't understand." Su Chen also went out just now and didn't know what to do. Maybe he ran away. Although I don't know why he chose to run away while eating, this is the most likely possibility. While the audience was talking a lot, but they suddenly discovered that Su Chen actually appeared in the shot where the girl was. In an instant, there was a gap in the barrage that filled the screen. Netizens were so surprised that they forgot to post the barrage. Guiyutong also saw people in police uniforms coming towards him. Finally, when she saw this outfit, she couldn't help but feel safe and smiled slightly. She raised her hand and was about to say hello, but when she saw the other person's face clearly, her smile froze in an instant. It was a face she was very familiar with, having watched the live broadcast just an hour ago. Su Chen. Chasing the murderer of the live broadcast. Guiyutong was stunned for a few seconds, then immediately reacted, turned around and ran away. However, it was still too late. Su Chen had already pointed the police stun gun at her, and then simulated pulling the trigger. He smiled and said, "Little girl, you have fainted. Have I been killed by him? Am I being fooled?" Guiyutong looked at the gun in Su Chen's hand and couldn't accept such a big turn for a while. "But, it was obviously my father who sent me the message. Why did it come from you?" she asked timidly. For some reason, Su Chen made her feel an invisible deterrent. Perhaps this is the pressure that smart people put on ordinary people. Su Chen put away the gun and said lightly, "It's very simple. I hacked into your father. Director Guo's mobile phone, so I can naturally trick you here. Very simple." Guiyutong was surprised. "There is an information protection wall set up by Uncle Duan on my father's mobile phone. Su Chen was also stunned when he heard this, and then smiled and said. I was wondering why it was so difficult to crack it. It turned out to be the work of Officer Duan. Guo Yutong was completely speechless. At this time, the hidden staff of the program group also rushed forward. The leading black-clad man took out a card and said to Guo Yutong. Miss, we are the official of the live broadcast of the murderer. Unfortunately, we inform you that you are now in a coma in the program. You have the following choices. First, you can choose to participate in the variety show and obey the murderer's next move. Of course, our program will guarantee your safety and privacy. Second, you can choose to withdraw and let our program team select an actor to take over your role, but you need to abide by the confidentiality agreement and not reveal the identity of the murderer to the program guests. Faced with these two options, Guo Yutong fell silent. She still has her studies to do, but intuitively, she doesn't know why, she feels that this is an opportunity that she will never have a second chance in her life, not only because of the unprecedented popularity of this variety show, and there is also the factor of the person who plays the murderer in front of her. I hope you can give us an answer as soon as possible. The staff of the program team reminded her. Guo Yutong raised her head. I will join this program. The audience in the live broadcast room came back to their senses from the sudden turn just now. A huge amount of comments burst out in an instant. Fuck, it turned out to be like this. Su Chen is too bold. Doesn't he think that blowing up a power distribution center is not enough? He is definitely not an ordinary person. If it were me, I would not have the idea of committing such a big crime again after being interrogated by the expert group. What is it this time? Kidnapping? Murder? The nature of this case is more serious than the previous one. Fuck, the person Su Chen kidnapped is the daughter of the Public Security Bureau chief. Too much of a show. This is a direct provocation to the Jinling Public Security Bureau. I have never seen such an arrogant murderer. The uproar caused by Su Chen's behavior quickly radiated to the entire network. In an instant, the popularity of the live broadcast room rose a lot again. It can be said that everyone knows it. However, due to the information filter of the program team, the expert group naturally did not know about this. At the same time, Jinling Public Security Bureau, Director's Office, Director Guo, who had short limbs, was sitting on a leather chair, holding a cup of tea. The thin man sitting opposite was Luo Ming, the president of the Shenghan Association, the most famous detective association in Longguo. Luo Ming took a sip of tea. The live broadcast of the pursuit of the murderer by the Jinling Public Security Bureau was really successful. Thank you. Director Guo laughed and said. Speaking of which, although the report said that this variety show was extremely popular, I was busy with work tonight and didn't have time to watch the content of the show. Chapter 23. You have to make the decision for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 23. You have to make the decision for me. The content is very exciting. Luo Ming had a sharp face without any expression. He said straight to the point. Director Guo, we recently received news from within the Shenghan Association that the Jintian Detective Agency in Sakura Country wants to get involved in the variety show. I wonder if this news is true. Director Guo was stunned when he heard this, and then smiled. As expected of Shenghan, the Jintian Detective Agency did contact us and may discuss cooperation in the near future. Of course, it depends on how long the murderer can escape. If he is caught soon, then this cooperation will naturally not be able to go further. Luo Ming took another sip of tea and said slowly. Director Guo, don't worry. In my opinion, the murderer will not be caught in a short time. Director Guo was stunned again when he heard this and frowned. He knew Luo Ming's ability and he was always very accurate in his words. He began to worry if there was something wrong with the program. We have to watch the live broadcast later. Luo Ming continued. I came here mainly because of my brother, Luo Ji, you know. Director Guo nodded. He is the smartest person I have ever met, no doubt about it. And the laziest person. Luo Ming added, with a helpless look on his stern face. He has been eating and drinking in the association every day, and he has no intention of making progress. If he continues like this, he will be useless. Maybe for a genius with high IQ, there is nothing in this world that can arouse his interest, Director Guo thought to himself, but did not say it out loud. Yes, Xinghan Association is not only the largest unofficial detective association in Longhua, but also a world-renowned high IQ association. The members in it can all be described as geniuses. Luo Ji is undoubtedly one of the most dazzling geniuses in it. He became a university professor at a young age. Of course, he is also famous for his laziness. Then Mr. Luo, what do you mean? The director put down his teacup and leaned forward slightly and asked. Luo Ming also put down his teacup. I hope that when the director considers cooperating with the detective agency, he can give priority to our Xinghan. I need to give Luo Ji some motivation in his life. Let him exercise his brain. After saying this, although Director Guo had guessed it long ago, he still showed a hesitant expression, because the current expert team is already very strong. Letting Xinghan come again would be a bit of a bully, not to mention that Luo Ji, if he were to come, would the murderer really be able to handle it? Director Guo lowered his head, turned on his phone, and thought about checking the news of the show. However, his expression suddenly became a little surprised, because on the phone interface, what caught his eye were several messages sent by his daughter. Dad, I'm done with Get Out of Class. Dad, I'm already at the car you mentioned. When did he let his daughter come to the car? Director Guo quickly opened WeChat, clicked on his interface, and checked it. At this look, the doubt on his face became even heavier. He found that there were many records of messages sent and deleted on his interface. At that moment, years of experience as a criminal police officer made him realize that something was wrong and his phone was hacked. And at this moment, the staff of the live broadcast program team saw that Director Guo was going to report the case, and they pushed the door in at the right time. The leading man in black said. Director Guo, congratulations on finding the clues of the case. What case? Is it your simulated case? Director Guo was surprised. The leading man in black nodded. You found the clues, and now we can tell you. Your daughter was kidnapped by the murderer of the live broadcast. Boom. The voice of this sentence was not loud, but it was like thunder, echoing in the ears of the two people. Director Guo and Luo Ming stood up together immediately. They did not expect that the murderer was so bold. The kidnapping was actually tied to the director. This is a provocation, an arrogant provocation. Director Guo's face changed slightly. He seemed to know why this program was so popular. My daughter. He must have hacked into my phone and used my information to trick Tong Tong over. Director Guo murmured. Logically, this is impossible. On my phone, there is an information protection wall built by Duan Yu himself. How could it be broken so easily? Duan Yu, the champion of the World Network Information Security Competition. Luo Ming became more and more excited when he heard the news, and his fingers trembled slightly. He must let Luo Ji and the murderer fight each other. This may be one of the few people who can compete with his younger brother. The man in black saw that the two had different reactions and did not reply for a long time, so he asked tentatively. Then Director Guo, according to the rules of the program, you are now our new victim. Do you participate yourself, or do we find someone to replace you? How did Tong Tong choose? She chose to participate herself. Pa. Hearing this, Director Guo slammed his desk. Let's go and find the expert team. Jinling Municipal Public Security Bureau, Expert Group Office. We have previously determined that the murderer's range of activities is the area where the camera is paralyzed. Duan Yu held his chin and walked around the office. He was really going after this murderer. However, the officers we sent out last night found no evidence of foul play. On the other side, Qin Ming answered. I checked the laboratory teachers of several recent universities and found no one suspected of committing a crime. I have to say that this murderer is very cunning. It is also possible that he did not continue to commit crimes, but chose to flee. Duan Yu said and walked to the door, planning to go out for a walk and think alone. However, when he opened the door, but I saw a short, middle-aged man squatting at the door. There were also several men in black from the program team standing beside him, and seeing the panel of people come out, Director Guo is worthy of being a veteran cadre. He gets involved in the drama every minute and his mood rises all of a sudden. After all, it was his own daughter who was kidnapped. He went up and grabbed Duan Yu and Qin Ming's sleeves, with a look of sorrow on his face. "Police officers, my daughter disappeared last night, you have to make the decision for me." Chapter 24 Excited Duan Yu, a master hacker. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 24, the audience in the live broadcast room looked at this scene, full of disgust and didn't know what to say. One thing to say, he is a better actor than Xiao Xianro. Don't say it, really don't say it. If Director Gua is better at acting than Xiao Xianro, doesn't that mean his acting skills are better than Xiao Xianro? Are you guys suffering from convulsions above? Maid, you still underestimated Su Chen and gave the brothers another hard job. If nothing else, Su Chen accounts for at least 90% of the credit for this show's current popularity. How did he come up with the idea of kidnapping the director's daughter? Normal people wouldn't think of doing this, right? However, I am uneducated, so I can go around the world with just one word. Now there are several doubts, brothers. First, how did Su Chen deceive this girl? Second, what is Su Chen's authority signal? If you know, please tell me. Sister, your map of Yen Kingdom is a bit short. While the audience was talking a lot, office of the expert panel, seeing what was going on at Duan Yu's side, Qin Ming and Bai Su also came over. What's going on? Why did someone report the case? Director Gua. Qin Ming looked at the middle-aged man in front of him with wide eyes, almost thinking that he was too sleepy and hallucinating. Duan Yu beside him was already in a semi-petrified state. Just now he was saying that it was unlikely that the murderer would commit 2 crimes in one night, but what happened now? It was the director's daughter who was kidnapped. Duan Yu quickly went up, helped Director Gua, who was inconsolable, and asked in a low voice. Bureau Gua, no, this reporter, can you describe the situation to us in detail? Director Gua heard this and tremblingly took out his mobile phone from his pocket, clicked on the prestige interface and stretched it out in front of Duan Yu. Officer Duan, he hacked into my phone and then tricked my daughter out. Hacked into the director's mobile phone, on that mobile phone, there is an information protection wall that I personally set up. Duan Yu was completely petrified, the audience was also shocked by this sudden news. Fuck, I understand, I finally know why that girl had such an expression when she saw Su Chen. Listen to her words, is the protection on Director Gua's phone still Duan Yu's handiwork? Doesn't that mean that Su Chen broke through Duan Yu's protection? It is very possible that if this happens, it will not only be in the Dragon Kingdom, but also the entire hacker community in the world will be shocked. When did Su Chen crack it? I have been watching the live broadcast and I didn't see Su Chen typing the code. Excluding all possibilities, the only time Su Chen came into contact with a computer was that time. You mean the time Su Chen played games? In other words, he broke Duan Yu's protective wall while playing games. Is he really human? The entrance to the expert group's office. Officer Duan. After Qin Ming patted him twice in succession, Duan Yu finally came back to his senses and his expression suddenly became excited. Director Gua, please give me your cell phone. Duan Yu said in a hurry. Take it. Director Gua handed the phone to Duan Yu calmly. Duan Yu, on the other hand, turned around immediately without saying a word, almost ran to the computer in the office, and connected his mobile phone to the host computer with a data cable. Then, his fingers struck the keyboard so fast that he almost danced out an afterimage. Countless and dizzyingly complex pop-up windows popped up on the computer screen. After a while, Duan Yu's tense back relaxed, he leaned back on the chair and said in a calm voice. It is true that Director Gua's mobile phone was controlled. Moreover, my information protection wall has been broken through by this murderer. Bai Su and Qin Ming looked at each other. That means. That's right. Duan Yu suddenly sat upright, his eyes flashing with the long-lost fighting spirit. It was the excitement of finding an opponent. In other words, the murderer this time is at least a world-class hacker expert. Officer Duan, I know you are excited, but please don't get excited yet. Qin Ming raised his hand and said. However, judging from the murderer's previous preparation of explosives, he is obviously a chemical expert. Although I am not a chemistry major, I have taken advanced chemistry courses. I know that if you want to configure explosives yourself, you must have very strict laboratory conditions and experimental knowledge. Qin Ming's meaning is very clear. Normally smart people are very good if they can do well in one field. It is impossible for him to be so top-notch in both fields at the same time. Otherwise, would they still be human? Duan Yu held her chin and glanced suspiciously at the program staff aside, still excited. We cannot rule out the possibility that there are two murderers. After all, the show crew only said they chose the murderer, but never how many they chose. Bai Su frowned slightly. Officer Duan, are you saying that the murderer arranged by the program crew is actually a team of various professionals? Just like our panel. Duan Yu nodded. It is even possible that there are other people on the murderer's side, but they have not taken action yet. But for me, these are not the most important things at the moment. As he said this, he pointed to the computer screen in front of him, and realized that others could not understand it, so he explained. Any intruder will leave traces of intrusion. Now I just need to follow the clues and follow the footprints left by the intruder to quickly lock the IP address of the intruding device. As soon as this was said, the others present also became excited. If we can know which computer the murderer used to hack into Director Guo's mobile phone, we can start the investigation from the location of the computer. Then, the murderer cannot hide his whereabouts. Moreover, writing hacker attack code is a very time-consuming thing. Even top hackers need to stay on the computer for a long enough time. He has no way to erase this clue. For a while, everyone's eyes began to stare closely at Duan Yu's operation. However, 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, 20 minutes passed. On the computer screen in front of Duan Yu, more and more pages were opened, and they became more and more chaotic. He couldn't count how many lines of code he had written down. Officer Duan, Bai Su asked in confusion. Duan Yu wiped the fine beads of sweat from his head, stared at the computer, and smiled. Interesting, very interesting. This intruder also set up an information protection wall on his trail to prevent me from tracking him back. He is a master. But if I am given a little more time. He was halfway through his words. In Officer Duan's eyes, the fighting spirit was already burning like a raging fire. He simply kept silent, and his hands were ravaging the keyboard, and the keycaps were almost knocking out sparks. This is definitely an opponent worth challenging. Bai Su, Qin Ming, this time the murderer is really unusually difficult to deal with. At the same time, on the other side, Su Chen's rental house, the small room is surrounded by white walls, and in the middle of the room, there are several simple and slightly old wooden furniture. Wu Yutong sat on the wooden bed with her knees hugged, her almond-shaped eyes looking forward curiously, and in front of her. The white light of the energy-saving lamp was cast on the relatively sturdy back of a young man. It also made the machete in his hand shine. Chapter 25, Buying Too Little. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 25, Buy Cheaply, Click. Su Chen raised his knife and slashed the pork in front of him, splitting a piece of meat as big as his palm. Your skills aren't very good. Look, the knife can cut you open. Gu Yutong leaned over and whispered to Su Chen. After chatting along the way, the two of them have become familiar with each other a lot. Although she is now considered a corpse, hear this comment. Su Chen smiled helplessly and blocked her stretched head. You know I'm not very skilled and you're still so close. Stay away and I won't hit you for a while. According to the unsolved case files, the murderer divided the body into more than 1,000 pieces. Moreover, the body was cooked. This shows that the murderer has some experience in slaughtering and dissecting and has certain counter-reconnaissance capabilities. Su Chen's simulation also required a full set of simulations. However, this pig is really difficult to handle, so I can only ask the boss to cut it up a little, and then he will perform secondary processing. Seeing Su Chen's unfamiliar techniques, netizens in the live broadcast room couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, it turns out that Su Chen, you are also not good at something. It seems that compared to Su Chen, I am not a total waste. Above, you know how to solve a pig? Won't. Su Chen's physical strength is good. Although his skills are not good, the child is very strong. Strength can produce miracles. After all, He graduated from the police academy, and his physical ability is also outstanding among ordinary people. To be honest, I'm a little envious of Su Chen. There is such a beautiful girl next to her. Alas, she is even prettier than my goddess. I won't say any more. I'm going to deliver food to my goddess and her boyfriend. Isn't the above statement too outrageous? Ha ha ha. Although there are beauties around him, Su Chen only sees pigs. Dang dang dang. Su Chen, who only had eyes for pigs, cut the pig's heart. Soon, he completely decomposed the pig in front of him into a pile of meat. Then, the body parts were packed with black plastic. Girl, you, go and weigh yourself. Su Chen turned around and said to Guiyutong. Okay, Mr. Murderer. Guiyutong replied with a smile. Ever since she discovered that Su Chen was actually about the same age as herself, she felt less unfamiliar. She took off her shoes, stepped on the electronic scale with her bare feet, looked at the beating numbers, and took a number. 60 kilograms. Su Chen's hand holding the pork paused slightly. He turned around and looked at the short-haired girl in front of him in surprise. So heavy. Is this too heavy for you? Guiyutong's beautiful eyes widened with an expression of disbelief. She crossed her arms and said. I'm 1.7 meters tall and my weight is on the light side. Besides, it would be nice to have some flesh. That's not what I meant. Su Chen held his chin and fell into deep thought. Ah, what happened to you just now? Guiyutong jumped off the electronic scale, walked beside Su Chen, and waved her hand in front of his eyes. I didn't expect. Su Chen raised his head. You are heavier than the pig I bought. I can't fathom your weight. Guiyutong, hearing this, the audience in the live broadcast room burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, why does Su Chen's words sound weird? It seems like he is saying that little girls are fatter than pigs. To be honest, I am actually not fat at all. I have long been dissatisfied with the aesthetics of bones and bones. Being slightly fat is the sure winner. Trivia: in fact, the body fat rate of pigs is less than 15%, which is much lower than that of humans. Damn it, I won't dare to say that I am a pig anymore. And in the apartment outside Jinling University, Guiyutong's best friend Zhao Xiaoye was wearing loose pajamas, lying comfortably on the bed, smiling silly at the two-dimensional male god on the tablet. He, I finally raised my favorability score to 99% today. We can take him down soon. Such good news, I have to tell Tong Tong. It's best to bring her into the trap. She picked up the phone and sent a WeChat message. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no reply. Zhao Xiaoye was a little confused. Usually her best friends would reply instantly. What happened this time? Suddenly, a hot search popped up on the tablet, the #1 hot search for #neck, shocking. Su Chen kidnapped a girl late at night, but the girl turned out to be the director's daughter. After seeing this news, Zhao Xiaoye sat up from the bed with a groan. How does it sound like? She quickly opened the live broadcast software and clicked into the live broadcast room of Chasing the Murderer. When she saw the situation clearly, Zhao Xiaoye's beautiful eyes widened in an instant. On the screen in the live broadcast room, it was Su Chen packing bags of pork, and the girl sitting and chatting next to him is Guiyutong. Is it really her, Tong Tong, who was captured by Su Chen? Zhao Xiaoye rubbed her eyes and confirmed again and again that she had not admitted her mistake. At this time, the girl in the live broadcast room looked down at her phone, and then started typing with her fingers, as if she was replying to someone's message. Drop. Zhao Xiaoye's phone vibrated, and she hurriedly looked down. Guiyutong, Xiaoye, I have something to do now. I just signed a confidentiality agreement. I can't tell you. I'll chat with you after I finish. P.S. You won't be able to believe what I say then. I believe it very much. Zhao Xiaoye looked at Su Chen and Guiyutong together in the live broadcast room, and suddenly wanted to punch herself. Should have left with Tong Tong before. Wouldn't it be possible to be kidnapped by Su Chen? Why do you have to celebrate the birthday of an avatar? With the continuous fermentation of Su Chen's live broadcast, the number of views of the live broadcast of Chasing the Murderer has once again experienced a huge increase. The total number of viewers reached 45 million. It can be called the most popular live broadcast program besides the Spring Festival Gala in the Dragon Kingdom. Now, only 7 or 8 hours have passed since the show started. This terrifying growth rate has naturally attracted the attention of surrounding countries. The first one to send out the invitation was the Sakura country, which was adjacent to the sea, at this time, the studio of the Chasing Murder live program team. "Chen, my friend, how are you doing?" Takashi Minamino, the National Treasure Director of Sakura country, bowed slightly towards Chen Qiming, and beside him, there was a young man. Chen Qiming knew this person, Lanshan Gangmao, a rookie detective novelist from Sakura country. At the same time, he is also a non-staff member of Kaneda Detective Agency. When he came this time, he probably had a mission from the Kaneda Detective Agency. "No need to be polite, Mr. Nano," Chen Qiming said politely, and then asked the two people to sit down. As Nan Yewu sat down, his eyes had already been attracted by Su Chen's live broadcast room on the big screen. He watched the live broadcast, nodded slightly and said, "Mr. Chen, I admire your innovative ability very much. You can present a long-standing competition in a novel way such as a live variety show. As far as I know, the Dragon Kingdom's divine judgment can be traced back to 2000 years ago, and it appeared at the same time as the first batch of unsolved cases." When Chen Qiming heard this, he nodded slightly. Nan Yewu was always well prepared for things. This time, it seemed that he had done his homework in advance. Minano Takashi continued. "Moreover, the effect of this innovative attempt is simply unprecedented, and Mr. Chen is proud of it." "I am proud, but my blood pressure is a bit high." Chen Qiming secretly cursed a few words, and then he asked straight to the point. "Then why do you two gentlemen come here this time?" As soon as he finished speaking, the two Sakura countrymen, one old and one young, looked at each other and laughed. "We came here to inspect the show and discussed with Longguo about introducing this variety show. I believe Mr. Chen has also heard about it. Of course, it also depends on whether this program is suitable, because the people of Sakura country are already familiar with themes such as detective stories." The young man named Lanshan Gangchang seemed to have become famous at a young age and was somewhat arrogant. This is also related to the fact that Sakura country started producing literary and artistic works of the detective genre relatively early. There are already many famous detective novelists in Sakura country, and one is even as famous as the author of Sherlock Holmes. Dragon Kingdom, on the other hand, started a little later and is catching up. Some of the current famous players, such as Qin Ming, have also made some appearances, Lanshan Gangchang added. "Mr. Chen, as a detective novel writer, although I am not a top writer, I am still professional. I can say that I have a pretty good understanding of the case techniques in this world when I am accumulating materials. I can also be sure that if the case process of this variety show is too old-fashioned, it may not be to the liking of the Sakura people." Although Minano Takashi used his eyes many times to signal him not to interrupt when he was talking to Lanshan Gangchang, but Lanshan Gangchang still finished his words without pausing. The meaning is very clear. He has doubts about the content of this live variety show. In Jintian Detective Agency, are even the non-staff agents so prickly? It's really difficult to deal with. Director Chen Qiming has a smile on his face. He waved his hand, and the staff around him immediately handed over a computer and placed it in front of the two Sakura people. "This is a quick edited version of tonight's variety show. You two can go through the content," Chen Qiming said slowly. Chapter 26 Clues about Su Chen. Expert team dispatched immediately. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 26 Seeing what Chen Qiming said, Nan Yewu and Lanshan Gangchang looked at each other. Then, they all leaned forward and looked at the computer screen. Director Chen Qiming watched the expressions of these two people change from relaxed, to confused, to solemn, to dull. He suddenly felt a little grateful to the young man named Su Chen. 20 minutes later, the video finished playing. The two guests from Sakura country fell back on their chairs and fell into silence. Is this something a normal person can do? Reality is indeed much more magical than fiction. Lanshan Gangchang stepped forward and bowed to Chen Qiming. I was hasty just now, I was short-sighted, red bean paste is in private Marseille. At the same time, the scene in the live broadcast room switched to the expert team's office. Ha, you are indeed my equal opponent. Duan Yu had 2 dark circles under his eyes, and his hands flew up on the keyboard. He looked at the dazzling screen in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. The temperature was obviously not high, but a large area of his back was already wet. The protective wall on the opposite side still showed no signs of being breached. Ming stood behind him, considered his words, and said, "Officer Duan, how is our progress going?" Duan Yu didn't even reply. The other party's protective wall is constantly filling loopholes. Presumably the hacker master is also playing games with me in front of the computer. I think I have held him back. You should seize the opportunity to deal with other people in the criminal gang. Ming, by Su, that I always feel like Officer Duan is a little over the top right now. Is it possible? I just heard that some programs can self-check and automatically fill in loopholes. Bai Su tried to persuade Duan Yu in a roundabout way. However, Duan Yu didn't get the meaning of the other party's words at all. His men paused for half a second and began to think. Of course this kind of situation exists, but no one in the world can write such a program that can maintain self-checking under such a high-intensity attack like mine. After thinking for a while, he changed his words again. No, there is one person who can do it, but he has been in prison in the United States for several years. It seems that Officer Duan has remembered his old rival again. Bai Su thought to himself, the defeat 10 years ago seemed to have cast a huge psychological shadow on Duan Yu. Officer Duan, who was completely in the dark at this time, did not know that he had been bombarded with barrage. Officer Duan, please take a break, I feel miserable just looking at you. It turns out that the program Su Chen wrote down is actually so powerful. I really underestimated him. It's very strange, why does he have so many outrageous abilities? If you can pick one of these at random, he will be at the top level, right? Speaking of which, didn't Officer Duan's 2 men track down the kidnapped girl's cell phone signal? I wonder if there were any results. Yes, after you said that, I also remembered that Officer Duan just authorized the other 2 internet police officers to use the police's black technology. I have to say that it is really convenient to have internet police. Locating mobile phone signals is one of the black technologies of the internet police. He can directly locate the location of a certain mobile phone, accurate to meters. This is how many fleeing prisoners are found. This technology will not be used easily, and it can only be applied for use unless encountering extremely large cases. It didn't take long for this barrage to be sent out. The door to the expert team's office was pushed open, and 2 internet policemen under Duan Yu walked in quickly. We've got our location. One of the young internet police officers in his 20s held a piece of data in his hand and his tone was full of joy. After searching for so long, for the first time I got the exact clues about the murderer. Now, the little girl's mobile phone signal is at number 251 Nanning Road in this district, where there is an unfinished building. The kidnapped girl was probably moved there by the murderer. As soon as these words came out, the barrage was immediately shocked. Damn it, isn't that place where Su Chen is? When the live broadcast room was switched just now, Su Chen went from home to an unfinished building. Now he was going to be caught by the expert team. It is very possible that the expert team moved too fast. After all, Su Chen was unable to do anything on his own. Oops, with the response speed of the expert team, they can get there within 5 minutes. This time Su Chen is going to be in trouble. Can you switch the camera in the live broadcast room? What is this guy Su Chen doing now? Fuck, Su Chen, run quickly, your position is exposed. And in the expert panel lab, everyone who heard the news was very excited, and finally, they were able to seize the time difference. Let's take people there now, the sooner the better. Forensic Dr. Ming said to Bai Su excitedly. Call all the police forces that can be mobilized now to surround that unfinished building. Bai Su nodded quickly. After a while, the entire reserve police force of the expert team was called to the office. Although it is already 11 o'clock in the night, these police personnel are still in high spirits. Staying up late to work on cases is a common occurrence for them. However, even though the hope of solving the case was imminent, the expert team still adopted double insurance and two-pronged approach. Duan Yu was still trying to break through the information wall in the office and try to locate the murderer's computer. Ming and Bai Su, two experts, led the police force and drove to the unfinished building where the mobile phone signal was located. I have to say that the police's technology is really abnormal. It made me deeply understand what modern criminal investigation is. After watching it, I didn't even think about committing a crime. Su Chen's time difference advantage accumulated for so long was just smoothed out by the signal locator. This show is really exciting for me. You never know how the situation will be reversed next. The party with the upper hand will fall into a disadvantageous position in an instant. Su Chen, act quickly, don't be caught so quickly. Yes, what are we watching if you are caught? During the time when netizens posted barrages, 4 police cars have already driven to the bottom of the unfinished building. In order to conceal, they did not turn on the police lights. Everything was done quietly, they want to catch the murderer off guard. Have you located the floor? Forensic Dr. Ming followed several experienced criminal police officers. Holding his toolbox in his hand, a tall and strong man turned his head and whispered. It's on the 6th floor of this building. After hearing this, Ming and Bai Su beside him whispered. There are 2 staircases in this building. Let's split up and block his way. Okay, I'll go to the other side. Bai Su nodded, and then left with half of the police force. The 2 teams had a clear division of labor and moved upstairs at a rapid speed. 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th floor, 5th floor. The audience watching this scene in the live broadcast room almost had their hearts in their throats. I'm a little afraid to watch it. But if you don't watch it, won't you regret it? This is the biggest climax of the live broadcast of chasing the murderer. This happened in the middle of the night, it really doesn't let people sleep. My palms are sweating now, what should Su Chen do? At the same time, Duan Yu and Bai Su's teams had already climbed the stairs leading to the 6th floor. They talked for a few words on the intercom, then, they rushed to the platform on the 6th floor of the unfinished building together. Don't move, you! Ming shouted, but he was stunned before he finished speaking. There was no one upstairs, there was only a mobile phone, which fell to the ground and emitted a cold light in the night, and where the light of the mobile phone illuminated, there was a big black plastic bag. Half of the raw meat leaked out from it. Ming's face became solemn in an instant. Chapter 27 Corpse Pieces. Su Chen ranks in the top 10 of the bounty list. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 27. As a police officer, this is the last thing Ming wants to see, but, it still happened. The appearance of this bag means that the current case has been upgraded from a kidnapping case to a murder case. Murder case. Ming felt a little tight in his chest for a moment, and all the police officers stood there in silence. On the other side of the stairs, Bai Su also rushed up with people. Seeing Ming and the police officers who were silent, Bai Su was stunned for a moment, and then looked at the garbage bags lying flat not far away. She instantly understood what was going on and covered her mouth in shock. Danmaku was also frightened. Su Chen is not here, he has run away. This man is so scary. I thought he was going to get cold just now. To tell you the truth, I was really shocked by Su Chen's move. I should say I admire him, but I feel a little uncomfortable. Holy shit, it's a bit scary. It's such an unfinished building, it's late at night, and the abandoned corpses. This is a perfect horror movie scene. This is only in the show. Think about it, detectives like Ming and others may have seen similar scenes in reality. Stop talking, my scalp is numb. The work of a criminal police officer is really a test of a person's psychological endurance. Maid, Su Chen, thank you, I can't sleep tonight. Officer Chen's face is a little serious. It's true. As a forensic doctor, he must have seen many tragic scenes. Are memories being brought back now? An unfinished building, on the 6th floor, the night wind howled through the concrete pillars, making Ming's collar look a little desolate, although he had said before on the show that he hoped the murderer would commit a bigger case so that he could feel involved. However, now, he realized that whether it was reality or virtuality, he did not want to see this scene. All serious crime detectives hope that their jobs will become idle. Dr. Chen, let's do the autopsy. Bai Su walked to his side and spoke, with regret in his tone. Ming nodded silently, took another breath, and said to the experienced police officers around him. Protect the scene. The team that originally stood silently took action quickly after this order, like a soldier on clockwork, taking photos, collecting evidence, sealing the scene, placing body parts. Although he knew that he was dealing with pork, all these actions were carried out in strict accordance with the criminal investigation process. It's like a real tragedy is happening right in front of you. This is the best response to Su Chen's actions. The body parts were not heavy enough, and the murderer dumped the body in more than one place. Ming put on white gloves and carefully numbered the body parts placed on the tray in front of him. Except for me and Bai Su, only 3 people are left here. For the rest of the personnel, please report it immediately and start a search of the surrounding area. We must find all the body parts in the shortest possible time. I understand, Officer Chen. Bai Su nodded to Ming, and then began to divide the tasks of the police force behind him. Here, plus all the reserve police force of the Jinling City Public Security Bureau, there are a total of 109 people. They took the unfinished building where the corpse was first discovered as the center of the circle and divided all possible areas outwards. Each area has corresponding police forces to conduct carpet searches. The entire district's police force is out. Investigate the mutilation case. This is a large-scale case that has never been handled in Jinling City in the past 20 years. Jinling Municipal Public Security Bureau, Director's Office, looking at the report sent by frontline criminal investigators late at night. Director Guo of the Jinling City Public Security Bureau, the cigarette in his hand was almost burning his fingers. He was slightly lost in thought, seemed to be asking, and seemed to be talking to himself. Mr. Luo Ming, tell me, when was the last time our Jinling City was so stormy? Luo Ming, the lean man sitting opposite him, knew what Director Guo wanted to express. The last time was the day 20 years ago when the unsolved case in the Dragon Kingdom that shocked China and the world occurred. The entire Jinling City was plunged into gloom, and many people were even afraid of going out of their homes and encountering misfortune. After the case occurred, not only experts from Jinling City, but also experts from across the country and even international people were involved in the investigation. However, after 20 years, there has been no gain at all. Su Chen's move was definitely not unintentional. Luo Ming sighed and said. Director Guo, what do you think he wants to express? Director Guo's face showed a moment of sorrow, and the scene from 20 years ago seemed to appear in front of his eyes. At that time, he was still a low-level police leader, witnessing the despair of the victims' families, the powerlessness of the police, and the cruelty of the murderers. The previous director resigned and shed tears on the spot. 20 years later, when the prosecution period of the case is about to end, people are planning to seal up and forget this dark memory. Su Chen used his own methods to remind everyone of the case. He wants us to pay attention and not forget. Putting away his thoughts, Director Guo said slowly. His eyes moved up to look at the slogans daubed on every wall in the police station: establish the police for the public and enforce the law for the people. Then, his expression gradually became determined. Put Su Chen on the Dragon Kingdom's bounty list as the mysterious murderer, ranking 10th. Director Guo said to his assistant beside him. 10th place. The assistant's eyes suddenly opened wide, full of disbelief and shock. Su Chen is just a virtual criminal, and this live broadcast of chasing the murderer is just a variety show. Even if he is caught, it will only be the end of the show and he will not be punished. Why does the director attach so much importance to such a virtual criminal? You mean, let him be in the top 10 of the Dragon Kingdom's bounty list, Director? This. There was hesitation in the assistant's words. Su Chen is warning us in this way and is also challenging us. Director Guo stood up from his seat, walked to the window, and looked at the night outside the window. 20 years ago, we couldn't do it. 20 years later, let us fight again, he said, his eyes already red. Justice, justice, is a promise to the people. This time, the 3 armies were ordered to wear armor together. The promise is as strong as a mountain. Chapter 28, Unlocking the God-Level Reasoning Technique. The real murderer from 20 years ago. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 28, Taiwan Novel Network. The director Guo's appeal was quickly approved by the superiors. It seems that higher-level people are also secretly watching the live broadcast of the murder. That night, major official media outlets scrambled to come up with good headlines, and countless videos and articles were immediately on the hot list, almost occupied the entire hot search. Detective Daily, the mysterious murderer is listed among the top 10 bounties in Dragon Kingdom. A live broadcast, a big gamble. Variety News commented, he may be the first among the top 10 bounty criminals in the Dragon Kingdom to reveal his identity to the public. Global Weekly, 3 serious crimes were committed in one night. This man is more terrifying than imagined. Yang Shi, I asked you to find someone to play the murderer, but I didn't ask you to find a real criminal master. Penguin News. In this overwhelming report, the name Su Chen can be said to be a household name in the Dragon Country. The number of online viewers of the live broadcast of chasing the murderer exceeded 50 million. Su Chen, you are so awesome. This is the first time I have ever seen someone participating in a variety show put himself on the Dragon Kingdom bounty list. However, being on this list means that he is now a key person under observation by public security agencies across the country. I guess his information will be included in the file. This is a declaration of war, which means that the public security has become serious. No, it is doubly serious. Perhaps everyone regarded this variety show as a game before, but Su Chen told them with practical actions that if they want to play with me, they must show 100% of their strength seriously. This is my first time watching a live broadcast. I have admired it for a long time and came here specifically to learn the techniques. Wait, are you a demon spirit? Quickly check the person above me. I suspect he is a real wanted criminal. However, the people watching Su Chen's live broadcast were no longer just Longhua, Sakura Country, Kaneda Detective Agency, headquarters, a middle-aged man with a bird's nest hair sitting in a messy office holding a cup of hot coffee. He is the president of the detective agency, Koichi Kaneda, and in front of him, there were 3 more people sitting. The first one was a dull young man, wearing a plaid shirt, with a disinterested expression, as if he was thinking about something. The second person is an old man with gray hair, wearing an ancient bun and a meticulous face. The third person, a girl who looked to be only 15 or 16 years old, was holding her chin in boredom, watching the video of Su Chen's live broadcast that President Kaneda played for them, and if the faces of these 3 people appeared on the street, they would definitely attract countless people to watch and scream. Because they are all the most famous detectives in Sakura Country. I've already told the people in the Sakura Country warning section and asked them to help contact the Dragon Country's program team. And the 2 directors and novelists sent there will lobby for us. Within 3 days, we can get at least 1 spot. President Koichi Kaneda said. You are the aces of this detective agency. I believe that if you can catch that Su Chen, you will definitely take our detective agency's reputation to a higher level. It's not a problem to surpass Sherlock Holmes' detective studio in Parrot Country. Is anyone willing to go to the Dragon Kingdom to do this? Kaneda Koichi said, scanning the people in front of him. However, the dull man in the shirt shook his head slightly when he heard this. Mr. President, I am currently researching the recent serial murder case in Sakura Kingdom. While this case is ongoing, 3 people have died. I cannot stop and go to Dragon Kingdom. Kaneda Hiroshi nodded after hearing this. At present, a serial murder case occurred in Sakura Country, and the number of victims continue to increase, casting a haze over the entire Sakura Country. The reason for the man in the shirt is quite good. After the man in the shirt spoke, the old man also laughed a few times. Ha ha ha, a virtual game is not worth my broken body. I'd better raise my old age in Sakura Country with peace of mind. The old man said. Suddenly, the topic changed, and a ray of light shot out from his eyes. However, if that young boy named Su Chen still has some skills and can escape to Sakura Country, I wouldn't mind playing with him for a while. After hearing what the old man said, Kinda Koichi reluctantly nodded in agreement. This old man is the most famous detective master of Sakura Country, the national treasure of Kaneda Detective Agency. The reputation of Kaneda Detective Agency is generally brought about by his joining. The old man has a bit of a temper, but there is nothing he can do about it. After all, his strength and seniority are there. The old man and the man had finished speaking. It was the girl's turn. Kinda Koichi was smarter this time and said directly without waiting for the girl to speak. Karita Yusuji, this is a very rare opportunity. Su Chen is the only modern person to be in the top 10 of the Dragon Kingdom bounty list in the past 20 years, and as a new talented girl in the detective world, you urgently need a chance to prove your strength. After Kaneda Koichi finished speaking, the man and the old man beside the girl also nodded. Go and catch that Su Chen, a virtual fugitive. It shouldn't be difficult. Hearing this, Yusuji Ming showed an expression of disgust on her face, curled her lips and said. Okay. I get it. It's really uncomfortable. Why do you have to play such a boring game? Isn't it easy to arrest people? However, in Sakura country, the words of elders are very important, but the people present today are all her predecessors and elders. She had no choice but to agree. I didn't expect these adults to be so childish. At such an old age, they are still playing detective games. Yusuji Aya complained, children are really difficult to deal with. Kaneda Hirokazu shrugged. There are many geniuses in his detective agency, which is of course good, but it is not easy to manage. Okay, that's it, I will arrange a plane in the near future. He clapped his hands and ended the meeting. At the same time, Su Chen, who was throwing corpses everywhere in Jinling City, also felt a beast roar coming from his head. This time, he was not scared, and said I'm used to it. Then, Su Chen settled his consciousness and entered the deep layer of his mind. In the chaos, the outline of the room containing the star map gradually became clear. Su Chen immediately saw that the relief mark of the sun on the star map was flashing. This means that it can be lit now. Touch with fingertips, Su Chen felt a burst of powerful energy injected into his brain, and then the words on the relief of the sun appeared naturally. The iron-faced Duke's divine judgment. The Duke has supernatural powers since he was young, and has the ability to distinguish right from wrong. He judged cases at the age of 4, another introduction. Su Chen thought to himself, this probably means that the iron-faced Duke has been able to judge cases since he was very young. His father is a judge. Once, his father convicted A and found B not guilty, just as the case was about to be closed. However, the young iron-faced Duke ran into the hall to play, and suddenly pointed at the not guilty B and cried loudly. The father was shocked, and then re-examined the case and found that B was actually A's accomplice. From then on, the iron-faced Duke's divine judgment ability became famous everywhere. This guy is so awesome. No wonder he can catch so many weird criminals. Su Chen complained. At this moment, he felt that his logical reasoning ability was completely different from before. In the files of the dismemberment case 20 years ago, those complicated records seemed to have a clue in an instant, pointing to some hidden secrets. In the turmoil on the streets of Jinling City, pedestrians were bustling and cars were busy. Su Chen closed his eyes and carefully recalled the details of the unsolved case in his mind. Gradually, the flashing lights in front of him disappeared. The sound of the horns on the road disappeared, the footsteps of pedestrians also disappeared. Quietly, and it seemed that raindrops fell from the sky, Su Chen slowly opened his eyes again, and the scene in front of him changed instantly. It was no longer a modern street, but the streets of Jinling 20 years ago, the night when the tragedy happened. The drizzle was pouring. He knew that this was the powerful reasoning and deduction ability he had acquired, allowing him to perfectly reproduce the scene of the unsolved case that year. He was immersed in his own imagination of the scene of the unsolved case, and walked forward. In front of him was the old-fashioned teaching building of Jinling University. It was as if he had traveled through time and returned to 20 years ago. Come here and witness the real murderer. Chapter 29 Mysterious Poker, Clue to the Murderer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 29. On a rainy night, in a deep alley, a man wearing a black raincoat came out. His whole face was hidden under the brim of the raincoat, and his face could not be seen clearly. After the man in the raincoat rushed out of the alley, his footsteps paused slightly, and then he walked towards Jinling University in the night without hesitation. Murderer. Su Chen glanced at this man sharply. then took steps to walk side by side with him, like a bloodhound. "You're going to kill a girl tonight, right?" Su Chen turned around and asked. However, the man in the raincoat could not hear his words, because all these were scenes constructed by Su Chen using imagination and reasoning. Su Chen also knew that the reason why he couldn't see the man's face was because he didn't have a complete chain of clues. Su Chen's fingertips moved slightly in midair, and the time flow of the entire crime scene accelerated instantly. Following, entering, killing, dumping the body, the man in the raincoat moved so fast that it seemed like the frame had been skipped. "Stop," Su Chen said slightly, and the movement of the man in front of him was instantly slowed down. "Let me see where you hid that girl's body." Su Chen said calmly to the man in raincoat who was struggling to dig in the ground in front of him. "If you want to see this man's face and determine the real culprit in the case, you need at least 3 things. The first thing is the complete body of the victim. 20 years ago, although the police collected thousands of body parts, the bodies they pieced together were incomplete. It was missing 2 important parts, which had not been found for exactly 20 years. Some people say that it was not found because of insufficient clues. However, some experts have once put forward a theory that they have sufficient clues. But it is just because these clues are hidden in a vast sea of files that no one has noticed them. No one has the ability to connect these tangled threads, but at this moment, in front of Su Chen, according to the records in the file, plus his own terrifying reasoning and imagination ability, the entire process of the murderer hiding the body has been exposed. Su Chen knew that that theory turned out to be correct. "I see, that's it, you hid her deeply enough." Seeing the murderer abandoning the last bag of corpses, Su Chen stared at him coldly with knife-like eyes. It was also at this time that the entire scene stopped. Then, his imagination shattered, Su Chen opened his eyes, and the scene in front of him returned to the bustling traffic in Jinling, pedestrian noise. He let out a long breath. The current evidence and exhibits can only be inferred to that point in time. If you want to further the reasoning, you need to find the 2 undiscovered bags of body parts and add evidence. He thought to himself. However, these body parts have been buried for more than 20 years. If exposed to air, they are easily oxidized and lose their original information. Due to his current conditions, there is no anaerobic storage room, and it is impossible to take out the body parts while protecting the evidence. So, how to obtain evidence? Su Chen pondered for 2 seconds, and suddenly, he had the answer in his heart. "Yes, we can use the hands of the expert team to do this. They are absolutely qualified to preserve and study the body parts." The corner of his mouth raised an imperceptible smile. He turned around and entered the convenience store next to him, and bought a box of playing cards. Late at night, some people in Jinling City are bound to have sleepless nights. 109 frontline criminal investigators, using flashlights, searched the entire urban area of Jinling, using unfinished buildings as a radius. The purpose was to find the scattered pork carcasses abandoned by Su Chen all over Jinling City. Under the call of this unsolved case, the criminal investigators moved very quickly, which was also related to Su Chen's low ability to throw away corpses. Just under 2 hours, in the expert panel's office, bags of corpse parts made of pork were placed on the table, and each piece was recorded in detail: discovery location, time of discovery, weight of body dumped. Forensic Dr. Ming put on latex gloves and glanced at Duan Yu, who was still typing codes tirelessly. He shrugged, then frowned at the information on the corpses. Director Gui's daughter Guiyutong, the deceased's weight before death was 60 kilograms, right? Ming asked Bai Su beside him. Bai Su nodded. "That's wrong. The weight is wrong. The total weight of these pork carcasses is not enough. It is 5 kilograms lighter than the body weight of the deceased." 5 kilograms. Ming put down the collected data, and suddenly his expression changed drastically. He hurriedly shouted to the assistant beside him. "Quickly, bring out that file, the file on the unsolved case from 20 years ago." "Okay, Officer Chen." The assistant was startled by his anxious look. He immediately clicked on the tablet in his hand and entered the electronic file search with expert authority. After a while, the complete files on the Jinling University corpse dismemberment case were retrieved. If I remember correctly, when the Jinling City Criminal Investigation Team collected the bodies of the victims, some body parts were not found, right? Ming's eyes were fixed on the information on the tablet. almost piercing it. "Yes, Mr. Chen. Go find this part of the information." Hearing this, the assistant's men quickly operated, searching for information about the results of the body part collection in the vast file reports. Suddenly, his fingers paused, then his eyes suddenly widened, and even his breathing became a little faster, and his voice was full of disbelief. How is this possible? Give it to me." Ming snatched the tablet, and when he saw the content on it clearly, his pupils suddenly contracted. The last filing report of this file. Currently, 1,129 body parts have been collected, and the total weight of the living body is estimated to be 55 kilograms. The difference with the weight of the victim before his death. 5 kilograms. Boom. It was like a bolt from the blue, hitting Ming's mind. How could it be so accurate? Why could this murderer simulate the case so accurately? Even the missing weight of the body parts was exactly the same. It was like the murderer was committing a crime again. The audience in the live broadcast room were horrified when they saw this news. Su Chen's move is a bit scary. Can't we sleep? Fuck, I thought Su Chen's words by Light to the little girl were a joke. It turned out that he bought Light on purpose. Just to match the real unsolved case. Did you notice that even the weight of the victim is exactly the same? I really think Su Chen is the murderer from 20 years ago. However, this is impossible. Su Chen was only 2 years old 20 years ago. How could he commit a crime? Although, it is still scary, and in the laboratory of the expert group, Ming took a while to recover from his shock. He put down the tablet, picked up the scalpel, and said with concentration. "Okay, then, let's start dissecting the body now." The tip of the knife cut through the muscle. Although Ming was shocked, he did not tremble at all, and the scalpel was smooth. This is the top quality of a forensic doctor. The assistants and frontline criminal investigators around him almost held their breath watching Ming's operation. At this moment, they seemed to have really entered a murder case and were dissecting the victim's body. And just at this moment, when dissecting the second piece of pork, the knife in Ming's hand did suddenly stop. It seemed to have touched some foreign object. What is? Ming exerted force and found that the foreign object was rolled up and stuffed into the hollow bone on the body. He carefully took it out with tweezers, then, his expression froze. It was a rolled-up playing card. Could it be that the murderer actually took the initiative to leave us clues? Everyone was stunned. Chapter 30 Ming's Deciphering, the Mysterious Master of Reasoning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 30. Fuck. 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 I don't know what to say now. This case is so exciting. It's all a reversal. How many tricks did Su Chen hide behind us? Why did he do this? Is there any connection with the murder case 20 years ago? My CPU has started to smoke. I'm waiting for Ming to solve the problem. Yi Yan, and in the expert team studio, Taiwan Novel Network. Circled M, forensic Dr. Ming quickly spread out the poker card and found that its suit was the 5 of spades. He couldn't help but frown. Poker cards are the kind that can be seen everywhere in convenience stores. There's nothing special about them. The secret may be hidden in the suit. But a single suit doesn't mean anything. There must be more than one clue. In just less than a second, the lines in his mind gradually became clear. Then, Ming seemed to have guessed something, picked up the scalpel, and quickly cut open the remaining body parts on the table. Sure enough. He was shocked. There were 10 more playing cards hidden in these body parts. The suits were Ace of Clubs, 3 of Hearts, K of Hearts, 2 of Spades. These playing cards were not scattered in each bag of body parts, but were concentrated in 4 bags of body parts. Each bag contained 4 body parts with playing cards. These 11 playing cards were spread out on the table. Expert Ming and the criminal investigation personnel around him stared at them with puzzled expressions. What does this mean? Netizens in the live broadcast room were also discussing it. Will this be Su Chen's next target? For example, he is using playing cards to allude to someone. That if you think so, you may have fallen into Su Chen's trap. If you ask me, it's very simple. This is a sleight of hand. Don't forget what kind of variety show this is. Su Chen may use this method to divert the attention of the police and then take the opportunity to escape. If this is the case, it's too boring. It has nothing to do with whether it's interesting or not. As long as it can buy time for escape, it's a good strategy. At this time, a unique VIP bullet screen suddenly popped up in the comment area of the live broadcast room. The content above is only a string of numbers and a place name, 000 Jinling Bridge Side, 1M. The netizens in the live broadcast room looked at this unclear bullet screen and wanted to spray it, but they were hesitant to speak, because the sender of the bullet screen, nicknamed Luo Ji, has a clear certification on his account, Shenhuan Association member certification. This means that this person is from the most prestigious detective organization in Longguo, the Shenhuan Association, whose members have an average IQ of 141. No ordinary person would go to a genius to find trouble. For a while, there were only whispers in the barrage. What does this mean? Is there any big man who can explain it? At Luo Ji, big man, can you explain it more clearly? Don't play riddles. However, countless messages were sent, but no reply was seen from the other party. As if they were offline, everyone had to suppress their curiosity and quietly watch Qin Ming's research. In the live broadcast room, Qin Ming had taken off his gloves and handed over the rest of the autopsy to his assistant. He himself was carefully writing and drawing on paper facing these body parts and the poker cards on them. Qin Ming is not just a forensic doctor, his other identity is a best-selling author of mystery novels and a master of reasoning. Time passed quietly for more than 10 minutes. Suddenly, Qin Ming raised his head sharply, his eyes flashing with brilliance, as if he had discovered something. Quick, give me a map of Jinling City. It must be detailed, as long as it is in the University City area. Qin Ming said to Bai Su. Bai Su did not waste any time. The police station had many spare maps for work needs, and they were all detailed as they could be. Soon, she found a map of the University City from the cabinet and spread it on the other side of the table of the expert group. Forensic Dr. Qin Ming walked quickly to the map, took out the marker in his pocket, and circled more than a dozen places on it in an instant. These are where we found the body parts. He said, he could find these places accurately after just one look, and this memory ability made many netizens astonished. Is this the professional quality cultivated by the long-term work of forensic doctors, clearly remembering the location of every body? With such a strong memory ability, I am afraid that when he was a student, this Qin Ming was the kind of person who could get the first place in the exam without studying. However, what is the use of circling these locations? What does it have to do with playing cards? And the forensic Dr. Qin Ming's hand did not stop. He continued to write 12 numbers on the map. These numbers were grouped in 3 and were marked at the locations where the 4 bags of body parts containing playing cards were found. The combination of these numbers is definitely not accidental. Qin Ming put away the marker. Bai Su asked. What do you think this information is, Officer Qin? Qin Ming pushed up his glasses, reflecting a white light. Coordinates. He spat out these words. It is a 3-dimensional coordinate system. The numbers in the club suit represent the z-axis coordinate, the numbers in the heart suit represent the y-axis coordinate, and the numbers in the spade suit represent the x-axis coordinate. The reason why we only found 3 suits of playing cards is because the 3-dimensional coordinate system only has 3 coordinate points. Boom. As soon as these words were spoken, it was like a thunder that resounded through everyone's minds. All the criminal investigators present were shocked by this reasoning. Oh my God, how did you come up with this? Expert Qin Ming's strength is so terrifying. Ah, my head feels so itchy, I'm going to grow a brain. I didn't understand it, but I was shocked. It doesn't matter if you don't understand, we can just quietly watch the boss show off. These coordinates are marked, but what is the use of this thing? It was as if he heard the barrage discussion. Qin Ming from the expert group office continued. Everyone, have you noticed a problem? Behind him, a group of criminal investigators looked at each other in silence. Bai Su, on the other hand, crossed his arms and looked at the coordinates marked by Qin Ming on the map. He pondered for 2 seconds and suddenly said. The problem is that there are no origin coordinates. Right, Qin Ming snapped his fingers excitedly. He explained to the criminal investigators behind him. The establishment of any coordinate system is to describe the relative position. Therefore, a landmark must be selected as the origin, and there is no origin in the coordinates here. But, it doesn't matter, because we can mathematically deduce the location of the origin based on the coordinates the murderer has provided. As he spoke, Ming took out a ruler from the toolbox and measured several coordinate points on the map, then he used a marker to draw on some coordinate points. After a while, in Ming's drawing, the line segments extending from those coordinate points actually intersected at a point on the map. It's done. Ming took away the ruler, pointed at the intersection of the lines, and said. According to the coordinate information provided by the murderer, this location, 1 meter deep underground, is the origin of the coordinates he refers to. As soon as these words came out, everyone came forward one after another, wanting to see what happened. Ming's fingertips were pointing at the location on the map. It turns out to be on the south side of the point where the central bridge of Jinling City connects with the south bank of the land, that is, next to the first bridge pier. Everyone's pupils shrank slightly. What exactly is there in that place?